Yes, we come down and play football, but it's all the other stuff, it's all the engagement, it's all the, somebody getting a wee high five or a hug for the first time all week. Do you know what I mean? That could be the only, relationships that they've got at that point in their life, or it might be the only kind of contact with other people at that particular time in their life. So we can't underestimate the impact and the power that has, and that's the power of football. Growing up in Govan, as a kid, football was like massive. All my pals played, I played every day, out in the street, and then obviously for your school teams and kind of local boys clubs and stuff like that. And it wasn't until probably I was about 14 that I had to I didn't give it up, but I had more important things to focus on. Fell away from football largely because, at home, my mum and dad had split up. My dad was, experiencing alcoholism, and that's an illness that really takes over everything, and it came to the point where I had to be, an adult, generate income and stuff like that, and look after myself. Because I'd left school early, I didn't have the opportunity to go to university or college because I had no qualifications and stuff like that. And then through a series of events, my father sadly passed away, and that just really shook me, things started to get worse, I was in a relationship that fell down, and quit my job and stuff like that, and I was just not in a good place, and to the point where I became homeless. And when you become homeless, it's like, homeless is just like a word, or it's just an image you've got in your head. You don't actually think it's going to happen to you, or you don't know what it means. You're just a young guy, but I then went on a journey for about 3 years, in Glasgow, going from hostel to hostel, full of danger, full of chaos. And it wasn't until I was living in a young person's homeless project in Glasgow where I came across a poster which was advertising a football tournament. And it was a big issue who was organising it. It was to find a Scotland team to go and represent Scotland at the Homeless World Cup, which was taking place in Gothenburg. For the next 3 months, I suddenly had 2 football sessions to go to every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, down in Glasgow Green. I just started to grow as a person, stronger mentally, physically. And then obviously went to play for Scotland at the Homeless World Cup, which was an amazing experience. But when I came back, the regular sessions and the build up to the tournament had stopped, and I was back to square one. But thankfully, through my support worker in the hostel, I got involved with youth football, started coaching kids. And again, that provided me with something that made me feel good about myself, because I was actually giving back. It created a bit of self-worth. And it was a lifesaver because, when I was doing the training and build up to the World Cup, it was great because I had a focus and had a purpose. And if I hadn't replaced that with something, I'd have probably went back the way. But because I replaced it with, regular training sessions with the kids on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that was my new purpose, and it got me out of the hostel. And obviously by then I'd moved into my own accommodation, got my house and stuff like that. And then into 2008, I was really starting to think, well, what more could we do with football here? That I was still seeing the same people. What if we could provide something, where people get a chance to come together and do good things? Play football, get access to support, just having somebody to talk to and stuff like that. And that's where street soccer was born. In 2009, I'd quit my job, and I basically had a bag of balls, a second-hand laptop, and a couple of posters, and I just started visiting day centres and homelessness projects and mental health projects and saying, look, we've got these free football sessions, people want to come along, here's what to expect. We had 1 session in Edinburgh and 1 session in Glasgow, and today we've got, over 60 projects running every week in Scotland. We're working with 2,500 players. We've supported about 25,000 players since we started, and at street soccer, all of our coaches and staff, big majority of them have came through street soccer. They came through the programme, they've got lived experience like myself, so it's a welcoming environment. Andy Robertson coming on board's been massive for us, captain of the national team. And Andy's, as we all know, is very passionate about making a difference in communities. He's got his own charity, AR26, which is making massive change in local communities, giving kids access to football. And Andy was a great fit for our charity, because Andy wants to give back and he wants to use his platform to help others. And it's an honour to work alongside Andy and helping to create that change. And we're delighted to have him. And as I say, the players you know, these are the guys that everyone looks up to. It's more than football, you know. Football's almost the front cover for it. Once players get involved, they realise that, you know, there's other support there available, whether it be mental health support or support from other charities. You know, football's such an important part of society. You know, it's part of our fabric. You know, and I think sometimes we can almost take it for granted at certain levels. When I looked at my lifestyle before football, it was like, you know, living in kind of hostels and stuff like that. You know, there's people drinking all the time, or you're maybe getting off on drugs or whatever. You know, that could have been an option. But actually, my option was football. Waking up in the morning, knowing that, right, I've got football today, makes a massive difference. You know, it gives you somewhere to be, gives you purpose.